Welcome to the Dating After Divorce podcast. I'm your host, Shade Curry, and I believe every divorced woman deserves a romantic relationship where she feels safe, loved, and cherished. You can create the most amazing life after divorce, and I will teach you how. Hi, friends. Welcome to episode 42, and Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. I am so excited to be your dating after divorce coach in 2022 because I believe that this is the year that you can make it happen. So we started this podcast 11 months ago in February of 2021. So for those of you who have been long-term listeners, like you literally have your foundation set in order to be able to make it happen in 2022. And that makes me so happy. That makes me so excited. I believe that every single one of you who wants a relationship, a healthy relationship, a remarriage after divorce deserves to have one. And I believe it's possible. It was possible for me. It's really possible for anyone else out there. There are so many people on the planet who want love, who want connection. There is someone out there for you. So I'm so excited for the new year. I'm so excited for all of the possibility. I'm excited for like all the neuroscience and coaching tools that are available. I'm excited for all the mindset tools that I have learned that my clients have used to create their relationships and all of the tools that we are going to build on in 2022. So I want to invite you to become a part of that. Schedule a call to work with me, download my free tools or join one of my free masterclasses this year so you can find out exactly how you can make love happen for you in 2022. And I get it. You have a lot of concerns. You have a lot of questions. You wonder whether it's possible, whether there are any good men out there, whether anyone would want you. All of those questions, I have the answers. So feel free to book a call. Let's get together and let's make it happen. All right, on to our episode. Today, I want to share one of my super secret sauces that I teach my clients in my coaching program and that really has a huge impact on the results that they get. Now, I call it the visibility formula. That's not like a new name. There's lots of things that in business and in marketing, people use the word visibility a lot, but I really haven't heard it used in the dating world, but it is just as important when you're dating. And it's just as important for you to actually begin to think in terms of visibility if you are dating, especially if you're a people pleaser, a recovering people pleaser, if you're someone who likes to shy away from the spotlight, if you're not comfortable with attention or compliments, or if you're like a little bit of a perfectionist, or if you have some social anxiety, all of those groups, you might be taking the steps to date. You might be on the apps, or you might be like maybe going on some blind dates and things like that. But unknowingly, you might be putting out an energy that keeps you invisible, that keeps you sort of like in the background wherever you are. You might be showing up on some of your dates without expressing yourself in such an authentic, powerful way that it truly attracts the person that you want. So I want to talk about that a little bit today because I think it's really important. This will answer the question for many of you who have been asking, well, I'm doing all the things, I'm going on all the dates, I'm swiping, I'm talking to people, but no one seems to be interested. This might be the key that you are missing. Now, in my coaching program, I teach my clients to put together multiple tools that create a whole picture that creates success. So this is just one tool. So if you are already doing everything that I'm talking about here today to be visible, it might be something else that might be the issue. So I encourage you to book a call with me. Let's go through what you're doing and kind of see where the missing key is and how I can help you in my one-on-one coaching practice to find the love that you're looking for. All right. Now, the visibility formula is really a way of evaluating 3 things about how you are showing up so that you can see what's missing in your dating process. It's a tool that I teach my clients to see how visible they are in the spaces where they are doing the work to meet their partner. So the first thing you really want to do is when you're dating is think about, I need to meet a bunch of people. I need to meet a bunch of potential partners. Like I need to not just meeting one every 3 months or one every 6 months. This is kind of what some of you are doing. You're like, I've been dating for 5 years. And then when I ask the question, okay, how many people have you actually interacted with in a romantic setting over those 5 years? It might be like 2 or 3, right? Those are not the kind of numbers that you need in order to meet the person that you want. So you need to get to know a lot of people, both potential partners and people who can introduce you to potential partners, right? And showing up exactly as you are. So your authentic expression, creating human connection, giving people permission to ask you out, and giving people permission to introduce you to someone, right? So those are all the ways that you like, whether you're online on an app or you're showing up in person, showing up in the way that makes it possible for you to meet who you're looking for, right? And so you might listen to that and say, yeah, I feel like I'm doing that. Okay, then the next step is to say, if I'm doing all of that, why isn't it working? The first step is to evaluate your spaces. Where are you showing up? Right? Our brains have this really sneaky way of making us feel like we've tried everything. We've done everything. We might go out on like 2 dates and your brain is like, oh, I'm tired, right? And it gives you a fainting spell. I've been dating and it's so hard. And then like when you sit down to actually write down the numbers, you're like, wait, I went on 2 dates. Why am I so tired? Okay. So when I work with my clients, I make sure that we are looking at the facts. We are looking at the numbers so that the lower brain, which just wants comfort, it just wants pleasure, it really doesn't want to expend any calories on this dating thing, right? So that your lower brain isn't tricking you into giving up before you've actually given it the effort that it requires to be successful. So the first thing you want to do is evaluate your spaces. You want to write down where are all the spaces where you currently interact with people, like your office, grocery store, church, gym, library, cafe, like where are all the places where you have the opportunity to meet people throughout the week. Some of you will be surprised to find out that like you're not going to a lot of places, especially now that many of us are working from home. You might find out that, wait a second, I'm just going from like my house to the grocery store, to the gym, to maybe one other place. And even when I go to those places, I'm not talking to anybody. You might be surprised to find out that you're not really meeting people in an active way. Okay. Or you might find out that, yeah, you do have a lot of community and you're meeting a lot of people, but it's like the same 20 people, which we'll talk about in a minute. All right. So how many spaces are you actually showing up in, whether in person? And some of these spaces can be online spaces too. When I work with my clients, we evaluate all of the potential spaces that could be in. We bring all of those in and take inventory and see what opportunities they have in those places. So take a look at the spaces you're showing up in. How often do you show up? How flexible is your routine? Is there even if a person was trying to meet you, are there any openings in your routine where that person could actually bump into you or meet you? Or like, is there any space in your routine where a new person could actually have a conversation with you? Or are you just surrounded by the same group of people week in and week out, month in and month out? All right. Now, once you have all of your spaces kind of like put together and you're like, okay, these are the spaces that I'm showing up in. Now evaluate each space for like its effectiveness in meeting potential partners, right? So you might be going to a lot of spaces, but they're not the kind of spaces where the person that you're looking goes. Okay. Now evaluating that is something that I can help you with as a coach. So if you want to have that conversation, we can have that conversation, looking at each space and saying, okay, here's the person that you're looking for. Would that person be in this space? Would that person be active there? Right? And once you are able to figure that out, you can now decide whether to change the spaces that you're in or go on to the next step, which is to evaluate the energy with which you show up in those spaces. So when you are in those spaces, how are you showing up? Are you the shrinking violet who's like way in the back, who never raises her hand, who never speaks up? Like if anyone asked if you were there, if a crime was committed somewhere and you told them, hey, no, I was actually at this event over here. Like, would anyone remember that you were actually at that event? Do you show up? Are you meeting people? Are you making an impact in the way you are meeting people? Are you sharing yourself authentically? Are you taking up space? Are you allowing yourself to be seen? Are you talking to everyone? Or are you just talking to like the single men who don't have the people you see who don't have a ring on? And you're like, okay, I talked to the 5 single men who were there and, they're not interested. So I'm out not talking to anyone else. Because guess what? There could be a lady in there who has a brother who's single, right? So maybe you need to talk to the women too. Maybe you need to talk to the grandmas and the grandpas who are looking for someone nice for their son or some, like this is not about zoning in on the one single man in the group so that you can see if he likes you. It's about just meeting people and opening up your life and expanding your life. So without an expectation that you're meeting the person today, here and now. Okay. It's about creating, I call it, when I talk to my clients, I call it opening up all the portals, right? We open up all the portals. And once we have all the portals open, who knows which of the portals your person can come in through, right? So when I met my husband, I met him online, but I really, at that point, I wasn't really expecting to meet my one person online because I had all these other portals opening, all these other spaces that actually seemed way more appropriate. But the key is to open up all of the portals, to be warm and open, meeting people, making connections with no expectation of a particular one being the one that turns out to be your person, and then giving those connections time to mature. So once you've evaluated your spaces, you need to evaluate the energy with which you're showing up in those spaces. You're showing up with like the fear of rejection. Do you hide? Do you feel embarrassed? Do you have like anxiety that makes you not want to connect with people? Like these are all things that if they are the case, it doesn't have to stop you. It just means that's your work. It just means that that's what you need to work through to get to the other side so that you can start showing up in authentic ways in your spaces so that you can meet your person. And then finally, when you do make these connections, do people feel like they have permission to follow up with you, or do they have permission to introduce you to a potential partner? Once you've evaluated your energy, so maybe you are showing up in a lot of spaces, maybe you do have the right energy. Now, what about the quality of the connections that you are making? So like at this point, if you've gone through those 2 steps and like, you're like, no, I'm making connections, I have these people, then the next step that I work with my clients on is to evaluate the quality of the connections that they're making. Like you've met people, maybe you're dating some people there. Are they what you are looking for? And if there is a pattern that you're showing up with the right energy in the right spaces, meeting lots of people, and those connections are not the right ones, then we have to circle back to number 1 and then change your spaces, because you may not be in the right space. That space may not be the right fit for you. That space may not be the right match, so to speak. Like you're not going to like every space that you're in. Not every space is going to be right for you. And of course, this is a very individual process. So I can't give you a ton of examples, because one example is going to apply to one person and not apply to the other. But this is really something that I work one-on-one with my clients to decide what's right for them. Where are they most likely to meet the person that they're looking for? How can they show up as who they are? I always encourage my clients, like, listen, you can't show up like the other person that you've watched show up and meet her person. You have to show up as you, doing the same things, but as you, right? You can't change yourself because you're trying to attract a partner who wants you in particular. You have to put yourself out there. So those are the 3 things that make up the visibility formula: the spaces that you're in, how often you're showing up, all of that, like your dating action plan. And are you keeping to that schedule? Evaluating the energy with which you are taking action, and then evaluating the quality of the connections that you're making in each of those spaces. The visibility formula is key, because when my clients go through this and they actually engage in it, in a very focused and active way, they realize it's almost like it becomes very evident very quickly what's been holding them back from meeting the person of their dreams, because there are people out there. And as soon as they tweak that visibility formula, it's like a breakthrough. Like, this is the thing that brings the breakthrough, and they're able to make huge strides in their dating journey and get super close to meeting the person. And I'm so excited that it's 2022, because that means that this year I am bringing you stories from some of my clients who are killing it in the dating game. And also, we're going to do another round of the Remarriage Club, and you're going to hear from other women who have been divorced and who are happily remarried. And I'm so excited to bring you their stories. We have so many of them. You're probably going to have one of them every other week. And I want you to learn from these stories. We hear so many of the horror stories. Please stop listening to the horror stories on the internet about how terrible dating is. Let that be something that you leave behind in 2021, and really just fill your mind with these women who have done it. And they've all done it in unique ways and in different ways, so you can learn something from every single one of them. All right, welcome to 2022. I'm so appreciative that you are listening to the podcast. I would love, if you're getting value out of this, to like it, to share it, leave me a review, tell your friends about it. Let's really elevate the level at which we date after divorce in 2022. I want to take this concept and really make it normal. Like, it's so normal for us to be out there dating. Like, why do we have to hide the fact that we're divorced? Or why should we hide that we are dating after divorce? No, this is a thing. It is a beautiful thing that we are rebuilding, we're recovering, we're healing, we're restoring, and we're creating these amazing new relationships. So please share the podcast. Please leave a review so that more people can find it. I look forward to engaging with you more and more this year. Have an amazing new year. Thank you for your time and attention, and I will talk to you later. Thanks for listening today. If you are ready to get married after divorce, I want to invite you to download my free 8-video training specifically designed to help divorced women date with ease and get married again. Head over to SadeCurry.com to get started. That's SadeCurry.com. I'll see you inside.